Sir, stop it.
Sir, why did you meet with the white supremacist?
Sir, that's it.
That's
the answer.
Yeah.
I would ask whoever is guarding this door to lead this man out of the room.
Yeah. I'm sorry you couldn't answer
Stop
the
it.
question
Nobody's going to listen to you. You're gone. We don't behave like that in this country.
To get that. I'm sure all of us have already heard, this Saturday there was a shooting at a synagogue in Pittsburgh that tragically left 11 people dead. And the terrorist who committed this crime, he was quoted as saying, "They bring invaders in that kill our people. I can't sit back and watch our people get slaughtered." You, Steve King, has been quoted as saying, "We can't restore our civilization with other people's babies." You and the shooter both share an ideology that is
No, don't you do that.
anti-immigration.
Do not associate me with that shooter. I knew you were an ambusher when you walked in the room, but there's no basis for that, and you get no question, and you get no answer. No, you're done. We don't play these games here in Iowa.
I was about to ask you what
No,
distinguishes
you're
your
done. You crossed the line. It's not tolerable to accuse me to be associated with a guy that shot 11 people in Pittsburgh. I am a person who has stood with Israel from the beginning. The length of that nation is the length of my life.
I was about
And
to
I've
say
been with them all along, and I will not answer your question. I'll not listen to another word from you.
If you don't have
And this
a
is over
white
if he keeps
supremacist
talking.
worldview, then why did you travel to Austria?
This is over.
I
If you don't stop talking.
Organization.
I think he's given his answer. I think that his answer is his answer. Yes,
But do you
please.
identify as a white supremacist?
Sir,
Stop it.
Sir,
Why did you meet with the white supremacist?
sir, that's it.
organization?
That's the
done.
answer. Yeah.
I would ask whoever is
Yes.
guarding this door to lead this man out of the room.
Yeah. I'm sorry you couldn't answer
Stop
the
it.
question
Nobody's going to listen to you. You're gone. We don't behave like that in this
I was
country.
hoping to get an insincere answer.
Go out and stand out front with a sign.
Sir,
Stop it.
Sir.
Pillar after pillar after pillar, holding up this shining city on the hill. And what are we faced with? The President of the United States and his leftist minions out there every day with their little jackhammers chiseling away at those pillars, undermining the pillars of American exceptionalism, attempting to bring down the shining city on the hill, turn it into rubble, and they have no idea what they would build on top of that rubble. But I know this. We are not going to let them do that. We're going to refurbish those pillars. We're going to strengthen the shining city on the hill. And we're going to serve God and country in that order. There is a fine future for the United States of America. And we're going to have a chance to live it. And when that victory comes, it'll be his victory, not our victory. It'll be at his time, not our time. God bless you all. God bless America.
Sir,
Stop it.
Sir.
But the president has demonstrated he's got a default mechanism of him that breaks down the side of race, on the side of it favors the black person.
Now, I know that time is run short here, so I want to conclude with this. I have said on one occasion that there's a circumstance by which I would support an amnesty plan, and that is this. If for every time we give amnesty to an illegal immigrant, we would just deport a liberal. I would make that trade all day long. Thank you very much. I wanted to make that point that when there's an active effort to desecrate a sacrament of the church, that is a direct insult and affront to the Catholic Church.
Absolutely.
And marriage, of course, clearly is one of the 7 sacraments.
In the civil rights section of the code that you can't discriminate against people based upon, I'm not sure I've got the list right, but race, creed, religion, color of skin, those kind of things. And there's nothing mentioned in there on self-professed behavior. The one thing that I reference when I say self-professed is, how do you know who to discriminate against? They about have to tell you. And, you know, are they then setting up a case? And is this about bringing a grievance, or is it actually about a service that they'd like to have?
The big pieces of the Obama agenda have been cap and tax, socialized medicine, comprehensive amnesty. I believe that any combination of those are transformative to America and debilitating to our liberty and our freedom. I want them all dead. I want to kill all those bills.
And then, by the way, their parents brought them in. It wasn't their fault. It's true in some cases, but they aren't all valedictorians. They weren't all brought in by their parents. For everyone who's a valedictorian, there's another 100 out there that they weigh 130 pounds and they've got calves the size of cantaloupes because they're hauling 75 pounds of marijuana across the desert. Those people would be legalized with the same act. And until the folks that want to open the borders and grant this amnesty can define the difference between the innocent ones who have deep ties with America and those who have been, I'll say, undermining our culture and civilization and profiting from criminal acts, until they can define that difference, they should not advocate for amnesty for both good and evil.
And they're celebrating the anniversary of the signature on the economic stimulus plan, STEM 1, and now they've got Son of STEM, or STEM 2, they're trying to bring past us again for roughly $100 billion. Now, are Americans nervous about all of this? Absolutely, we are. And I tell you this story because that's how we got here. We got here with this whole string of TARP, the nationalization of 8 huge entities, and an economic stimulus plan, and then on top of that, then we went right into what was next last summer in July? Cap and trade, cap and tax, that you know. Now, sometimes leadership will give an advice that will be, don't argue the science, you've already lost that argument, just argue the economics of cap and tax. Well, I will tell you, if there's ever a premise that you disagree with, never concede a premise. Never, never concede a premise.
Sir, stop it. Sir.
The liberals, the environmentalists, the extremists, the Al Gores of the world were wrong on the science, and today we know it. But it would have worked better if FDR hadn't lost his nerve. But FDR lost his nerve and was afraid he was spending too much money, so he pulled back. And when he pulled back in the second half of the 30s, then that's when you saw unemployment go up and you had a recession within a depression, according to the Keynesian economist on steroids named Barack Obama. Well, I'm not a Keynesian economist on steroids. I'm a free marketeer. I have read every word of Wealth of Nations, and I believe that constitutional conservatives stepping up to take America back. But you know, one thing that Sun Tzu wrote about was, know Shea Hostum, know thine enemy. Now, who are we up against? And I want to define that enemy. They are liberals, they are progressives, they are Che Guevarians, they are Castroites, they're socialists, more enemies on this list, Gramsciites, ring anybody's bell? Trotskyites, Maoists, Stalinists, Leninists, Marxists. They're all our enemies. Who'd I leave out?
Sir, stop it. Sir.
I think I heard that. How about I go to Democratic Socialists?
One member was given $127.41 a day for food on his trip to Argentina. He probably had a fair amount of steak. Another member was given $3,588 for food and lodging during a 6-day trip to Russia. He probably drank a fair amount of vodka and probably even had some caviar. That particular member has 21,000 food stamp recipients in his district. One of those people who is on food stamps could live a year on what this congressman spent on food and lodging for 6 days.
Or lemonade.
Handing out benefits is not an economic stimulator, but we want to take care of the people that are needy, the people that are hungry, and we've watched this program grow from a number that I think I first memorized when I arrived here in Congress at about 19 million people, now about 49 million people. And it appears to me that the goal of this administration is to expand the roles of people that are on SNAP benefits, and their purpose for doing so, in part, is because of what the gentleman has said from Massachusetts. Another purpose for that, though, is just to simply expand the dependency class.
To get a sense of the man who is a full spectrum conservative who left a legacy that today we are still impacted by the image and the ideals of Ronald Reagan 100 years after his birth and these years after his death. And I think that having a granddaughter named Reagan Ann King ties us all into those principles of Ronald Reagan. And if you think that that might have been maybe a not very well thought out decision on the part of her parents, I will tell you that this little girl is only about an hour and a half old, and her mother Lindsay is holding her in the hospital bed, and little Reagan Ann King, and she said to me, "This girl has no chance to grow up to be a liberal."
Sir,
Stop it!
Sir,
Stop it!
Sir,
Stop it!